Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing some technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets because, guys, in the last 24 hours, Bitcoin has turned very, very bearish. I talked about in yesterday's video about how this week was going to be a very decisive point for Bitcoin, and I also talked about how in this week, we're going to see a lot of big price movement, and yesterday was a very interesting day for just that. I talked about this uptrend and a consolidation pattern yesterday and how we're more than likely going to see a very powerful breakout of it very soon. And then following that video, we saw this gigantic red candlestick. From there, we had a nice jump up right back to where we started, and then we traded sideways, and a couple hours before recording this, Bitcoin started falling again. Bitcoin is starting to look quite bearish. We're going to discuss that in today's video, and I'm getting kind of concerned about it because Bitcoin being pushed down here is pushing it towards important levels of support that if it breaks, may actually jeopardize the entire rally. So in today's video, we're going to discuss that and try to get to the bottom of where Bitcoin is going and if it can actually stage a continuation of this rally so we can actually get our bull run kicked off. But we'll be discussing more of all of that and more in today's video, guys. So if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell because we do cryptocurrency videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them. So let's get right into the crypto market recap. Bitcoin is down about 2% in the last 24 hours. That's not a big deal. It being down 2% isn't really the big deal, although this says 3.76% because Bitcoin is still going down as we speak. But the thing that concerns me is that Bitcoin's getting close to important levels of support. If we bounce there, that's going to be perfectly fine. But the thing I'm really, really concerned about is the possibility of us breaking these because Bitcoin is still in a very tumultuous period in its history in this rally. It's in a very precarious spot. And it looks to me like the bears are starting to take over because we see a lot more red candlesticks in this little flag up here than we did back here. I'm just getting a little bit concerned, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let's first talk about the market as a whole. As we can see, if we sort by change over the last 24 hours here, we only see 4 cryptocurrencies that are green, and one of them is Tether, so that doesn't exactly count. The rest of the market is very red. We see about, I don't know, maybe 20 or 25, 30 altcoins that are double-digit negative. Pretty much the entire market is very red today, guys, including Bitcoin, of course. If we refresh this, this is going to be a little bit more accurate. Yeah. Pretty much the entire cryptocurrency market is very red. The altcoins have been taking a beating, well, that is the reason that Bitcoin's dominance is continuing to rise. It's up past 48%. It was up past 48.5% just a little while ago. I believe it was at 48.6%. About an hour or so ago. But the entire cryptocurrency market has been taking a beating. Bitcoin's volume is coming back. It does have about $5 billion in daily volume. Ethereum close to $2 billion. But something tells me, unless you're shorting, that's not exactly the kind of volume you were looking for when we were talking about wanting Bitcoin to have some more volume come back into it. Total market capitalization is sitting around $280 billion, which is still a nice level. Like I said, I'm not too concerned about Bitcoin being down 2.5%. I'm concerned about what this price movement means in relation to different indicators and different formations on the chart here that may actually be putting the Bitcoin rally in jeopardy. With that said, I believe that's everything we wanted to cover here on coin market cap, so we'll go ahead and move on over to the chart. We're actually seeing Bitcoin continue to correct a little bit more while this video is going on. Bitcoin started this video, or when I started recording this video, because I record several times before I get the intro down, it was trading up here around $7,920, and it's been continuing to go down. We're down around $7,860 right now. And yeah, in yesterday's video, let's turn our moving averages off here for a second. In yesterday's video, I talked about this triangle pattern right here, this one right there. That triangle pattern, oops, that's not what I meant to do. I was talking about this triangle pattern right here with this uptrend of support and this downtrend of resistance. And I was talking about how Bitcoin was very, very close to breaking out of this, and I believe that video was recorded somewhere around here. And just a couple of hours after that video went up, we saw a big bearish breakout of it, and Bitcoin pulled all the way back down to $7,900, where it actually managed to get support. From there, over the next 3 hours, Bitcoin did actually return up here, but it again got resistance at this downtrend and stayed up there for pretty much all of the night and then continued to go down. As you can see, we're already down like $100 from where this video began. Bitcoin's moving pretty quickly right now, and it is concerning because we are approaching and actually in the process of getting support on, or trying to get support on, important levels of support. But like I said, we did get resistance at this downtrend, this is not the downtrend that we were supposed to get resistance at. $8,300 was supposed to be the level that we were supposed to get resistance at because that had been where Bitcoin was getting resistance all these other times. I just drew like 7 times that Bitcoin got resistance there on the chart. And we were looking for Bitcoin to continue getting resistance on 8,300, and then eventually one of these breakouts eventually push us beyond 8,300 and then start pushing up towards like the 50 weekly simple and the 200 daily simple moving averages. That's not what happened though. We got resistance under this downtrend and we just jumped off a cliff here. As you can see, Bitcoin is you know, it's going cliff diving right now as we're actually watching this, and it's actually going, well, actually, as we're recording this, Bitcoin is now lower than it has been in the last week. The previous low was over here at about 78.10 or 78.20. Right now, it's getting down to $7,800, which is actually one of the really important levels of support that I was talking about in today's video. This is somewhat concerning. Anyway, let's go out here to the day chart, and I'll show you I'll show you several very important levels of support. The first one is exactly $7,800 flat. If we're going to get support here, which is, funnily enough, may be happening in this video, $7,800 is kind of the crucial level. Now, $7,800 is a crucial level for several different reasons. The first of which is a horizontal support level based on a lot of previous price action. And guys, if Bitcoin breaks $7,800, that's not necessarily the end of the rally, but it does put the rally in a lot of jeopardy. I'd say if the rally is going to end, it's going to end because Bitcoin falls back below this downtrend, which was the downtrend in the descending triangle pattern that's been so important in the Bitcoin market for the last little while. I think if Bitcoin does get below that, that's going to be a really big deal, which right now Bitcoin would have to go below about $7,600 to get down there. That would be right about, if we zoom in, if Bitcoin like crosses where these two trend lines are crossing down back here into this region under this trend line, then that's going to be a really, really bad sign. Hopefully it doesn't do that, although it kind of looks like it might be doing that in this video. But right now, where Bitcoin was hopefully going to get support on, now the market's moved kind of quickly, it may be breaking this as we speak, where I'm hoping that Bitcoin manages to get support on is this level right here. We have support here, support here, support here, resistance here twice, and then we have a little bit of resistance up here. We kind of got up here and touched it about $7,800. $7,800 is an important level of support for the Bitcoin market, and I'm hoping that we can retain it. If we can't, that's going to be concerning. Bitcoin is really starting to concern me, guys. You saw in yesterday's video, well, if you saw yesterday's video, that I said that I was about 60% bullish and 40% bearish. I am still, that's changed a little bit. I'm like 55% bullish and 45% bearish. I still think there's a very good possibility that Bitcoin can continue the rally, but at this point, this gigantic red candlestick is starting to kind of concern me. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, or whatever the saying is, because this could very easily turn around and we could get support at $7,800. But like I said, it is starting to concern me, Bitcoin's price movement. With that, let's go ahead and look at some other important levels of support that Bitcoin is hopefully going to be getting support on in the next couple of, well, minutes. Hopefully in the next couple of minutes, Bitcoin gets support here, because this is happening as we're recording. The first two of the ones that I haven't shown you yet are actually Fibonacci levels. If we drag out Fibonacci retracement here from the all-time high down here to the recent low of around 5,750, we're going to see that that puts the 50% Fibonacci level at around $7,880. Now, of course, we've already broken this, but Bitcoin could very easily close this daily candlestick up around $7,850 or $7,900 and still get support here. And even with that, it still hasn't, even if Bitcoin does close at the price it's currently trading at, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's broken this level of support, because levels of support are actually really zones of support. You could still call this a level of support. And hopefully we do get support here. It looks like Bitcoin has bounced a little bit. It's up about $40 from where it was 2 minutes ago. So like I said, guys, the Bitcoin market moves very, very quickly when it wants to. If we zoom in here to the minute chart, we're going to see that. Yeah, see, it was up here around $8,000. Is that right? Oh, yeah, it is right. Bitcoin was up here around $8,000 like an hour ago. I didn't even... Okay, yeah, I was right on that. That's... All right, well, I told you it moves quickly, and it does move quickly. That was even quicker than I thought it had been moving, but it does move very quickly. If we drag another Fibonacci level out here, we're also going to see that Bitcoin is currently trying to get support on the 23.6% retracement level if you drag from the recent low to the recent high. Now, of course, I understand that depending on the direction you drag a Fibonacci level, it's either showing support or resistance, but support and resistance levels are actually both support and resistance levels. They're more like levels that a market can get either support or resistance on. So I'm going to call both of these potential levels of support, especially since they do coincide right around $7,800. The two Fibonacci levels being the one drag from the top to the recent low, and from the recent low to the recent high. Bitcoin's trying to get support on both of these. Hopefully it does get support on them. If it doesn't get support on them, and if we do manage to break below $7,800, which for a second there it kind of looked like we were going to, hopefully we don't, because that's a rather important level. If we do break below there, two of the last really important levels that I'm looking for before I get really bearish on Bitcoin are these. And the first one would be an uptrend right here that we used to talk about a lot more on the channel, because it used to be a lot more important, but right now it's coming into play again. That'd be this uptrend right here. That's kind of a weird line. This uptrend right here. That uptrend starts back over here with its pivot point on $6,000, a set point back over here when Bitcoin pulled back to $6,500, and over here when Bitcoin pulled back to $7,000. That's an important uptrend because it used to be a very big piece of market structure, but Bitcoin did unfortunately break below it back over here in June. But now if you drag that trend line out, it's actually more than likely going to come into effect again if Bitcoin does break this level of $7,800, because if we drag it out, it's this level right here. Bitcoin did actually get resistance at it back over here when we were trading around $7,500 and trying to get through that. And right now, if we do break $7,800, that's going to be our next important level of support. Now, the reason I'm outlining all the important levels of support is because in several videos recently, I've outlined the important levels of resistance. If you guys are interested in that, feel free to click the video in the top right, and I'll go show you a lot of the levels of resistance that Bitcoin is getting through. But right now, Bitcoin is obviously, as you can see with this candlestick, looking very, very bearish. So I want to go ahead and show you guys, hopefully, where we'll get support if Bitcoin does manage to turn around here. And then the last level of support that I'm looking at for Bitcoin to get, the last trend line I'm looking for Bitcoin to get support on, if it does manage to get support, is a downtrend right here in the descending triangle pattern. If we get below this level, I'm going to definitely be bearish on Bitcoin. I'm going to be more bearish than bullish on Bitcoin. I do not want to see Bitcoin go back below $7,600. If it goes back below $7,600, I'm thinking we'll probably see a break of $7,500, $7,300. And if that happens, it's just going to be a chain reaction of bearish action in this case, and that's not something we want to see. To wrap the video up, let's talk a little bit about market sentiment, because that's a really important factor when dealing with markets. It's really important to try and understand whether the bulls or the bears are in control. It's important to understand if you're in a bullish rally or in a bearish rally, which that wouldn't really be a rally, but you understand my point. It's important to see which direction the market is going and to see whether the buyers or the sellers are the ones that are actually controlling the market. And over the last several weeks, Bitcoin has been controlled by the bulls. And this is kind of something, let's zoom out to the 2017 rally, and we'll try and get a feel for what I mean by this. In 2017, Bitcoin was very obviously in a bull run. Everybody knew Bitcoin was in a bull run. And the reason that everybody knew that Bitcoin was in a bull run is that whenever Bitcoin ran up to a high, I meant to have my paint tool. Whenever Bitcoin ran up to a high, like up here to $3,000, and it cooled off a little bit, no one really got that worried because they knew that the underlying forces in the market were very bullish and that the market would eventually return to all-time high. Everybody believed that that was going to happen, and they believed that it was going to happen because they'd seen it happen so many times. The market was very bullish. Lately, in 2018, Bitcoin has been very bearish, so it seems that every time we go up and we run up and we have a new high, everybody's like, okay, well, this isn't going to last. The rally's going to fall over. That's basically how you characterize a bull or a bear market, is not just by the price action, not just by levels of support and resistance. It's also by what the underlying sentiment is and by who is actually in control of the market. Ever since back over here in mid-December, the bears have been controlling the market. The bears have been control over here. The bulls were in control over here. What we're trying to do right now is split that again and make the bulls in control over here. But at the moment, it seems like the bears, in the longer-term time frames anyway, are starting to get their control back. And that's what concerns me, is that if we look in here on the Bitcoin chart, over the last 2 weeks when Bitcoin was rallying, what we saw Bitcoin do is it came up here and it hit its head up here against $7,500. We got an important and pretty strong level of resistance up here at $7,500, but the bulls just didn't quit. We kept coming up here, pushing our head up against it, kept trying. We pulled back, kept trying. We tested $7,500 as a level of resistance several times. We tested it like 8 times, and eventually the bulls did get through it. And that's a very good way to tell whether the bulls or the bears are in control. When a market's going sideways like this for a long time, and then one of them finally actually breaks out, and then not only was this a failed rally, it wasn't a failed rally, it actually did very, very well. Because it did very, very well, we could tell that the bulls were stronger than the bears. But in this time that we've been getting resistance up here around $8,300, not only did we have a recent high above that, up here at $8,500, we had a much, much more significant drop than we had a rally up here above $8,300. Not only that, we're getting more resistance than we are getting support, because we've gotten resistance at $8,300. We've gotten resistance under this downtrend. And right now we're seeing Bitcoin go cliff diving again, where it did this little thing. It jumped off a table and then it came over. And now it's jumping off a cliff while jumping off a table. And it's just really not a good sign for Bitcoin, because it seems like the bears are in control. I don't know how well I explained that, but I hope you guys get my point. Once you've been in a market for a while, it's pretty easy to get a feeling for whether the bulls or the bears are in control. And right now, especially in the last 24 hours with the new things that have come to light since the last video went live, I'm kind of concerned. I'm not scared because, like I said, I don't really get emotional about markets, but I am concerned about the health of the market because it seems like the bears are getting to be more in control. And that kind of makes sense, to be fair, because the bulls have been in control for 2 weeks. Now, of course, the bears were in control for 2 months leading up into that, but we are still in an overall bear market. The bull run hasn't officially really started yet. And I don't know, guys. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen here. Like I said, I'm kind of 50-50. I'll tell you what my gut is telling me. I don't always go with my gut. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It really depends. My gut is telling me that we're going to go lower than $7,800. I don't necessarily agree with my gut, but in case any of you guys were wondering what my intuition says, I'm thinking that we're probably going to go down here around $7,600 and hopefully get support on one of those trend lines that I showed you, or an important level like $7,600 or $7,500. My gut is telling me that the bears are going to take us a little bit lower. Perhaps I'm just a pessimist because we've been in a bear market for 8 months. So don't really take that with a very large grain of salt, if you take it at all. But anyway, guys, let's talk about RSI, and then we're going to wrap the video up. I am concerned about Bitcoin right now because this is not exactly a bull flag. This is kind of starting to look like a reversal. But nevertheless, the RSI, anyway, is starting to look much more healthy. We do kind of have this little head and shoulders pattern on the RSI, which doesn't mean what it would mean on the actual chart, but it is interesting to look at. The RSI is being turned down right now, which is good. We want the RSI to reset. If Bitcoin can bounce here at $7,800, like I hope it can, I'm just not totally convinced that it will. If it can bounce here, this is going to be healthy for the RSI. That means the RSI has started to reset a little bit, and we have more room to run in the next rally if Bitcoin does push up here and break resistance at the 200-day simple moving average, which has just been up here like taunting us and tempting us, trying to get Bitcoin to come up here above $8,500, and we can't really do it. But like I said, this is going to be a really important week. I think we're going to see a lot of important price action this week. By Friday, I think we're going to have a really good, or at least a much better idea of where the market is going, because we're either going to have broken this 200-day simple moving average up here, or we're going to have broken support down here. I don't think we're just going to keep trading sideways for another 4 or 5 days. I just don't see that happening. We've already been doing that for so long. Tell me in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? Do you think Bitcoin is going to break bullish? Do you think we're going to break the 200-day simple moving average and start pushing towards $9,000 and $10,000 this week? Or do you think we're going to break bearish and we might come back down and test levels around $7,500? Do you think if we go that low that actually poses an existential threat to the Bitcoin rally and the potential of a Bitcoin bull market? I'm very interested to hear your opinions as always, guys. I love reading your comments. I read every single comment that's posted on this channel, even on old videos. Sometimes YouTube doesn't tell me about them, but if I see them, I do read every single comment, if it's at all possible. But anyway, with that said, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.